I think it is. Can you guys hear me now? Oh, those are both muted. Okay. You guys should hear me now. Anyhow, yes. So we'll be in beautiful Bradenton. It's going to be glorious. I'm excited. You're excited. And this is our last show before we are in Bradenton. So, Tyler, you had some talking points you kind of want to present tonight, which we've been hearing a lot of, I guess, these talking points in the community for the past few weeks. So why don't you kick it off for us?
Yeah, man. Like one of the things I've kind of brought up here, and there's a. So the Pirates did a lot of things this offseason. Let me reset that. A lot of things they did, I don't have any complaints about. I think they were the right moves. I like a lot of it. I think they improved their team a heck of a lot. But I'm just curious here. Where do people stand if we look back at this? Coming into this offseason, we were kind of thinking 30 million might be the amount they have to spend in order to get back to where they were in 2025, around $93 million. Now they are, basically at 103. Did the Pirates spend that efficiently? That is really my question tonight. And I think if you look into this a little deeper, like if it was a perfect world, there were things we could change. Sure. I think they did a decent enough job with what they had and where they were right now. However, at the same time, there are a 1, 2, maybe 3 things that they did this offseason where, as we stand here on February 20th, I'm not sure that the Pirates would have done that if they could look back in retrospect and see what all has happened. There are some things that they've done this offseason. I'm not sure that they would do that over again.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what everybody thinks about that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And, obviously hindsight is 50-50 for Cam Newton, otherwise 2020. But I think part of the problem is, right, when you look back, maybe we could have done things differently and been more efficient. But at the end of the day, I think ultimately we also realized that the Pirates weren't really in a situation where they could be very picky and choosy and say, like, here's the plan. Let's attack this plan to a T and accomplish the mission, because it takes two to tango. And what their plan could have been was, let's go after this guy. And this guy's like, well, no, you're the Pirates and I don't want to play for you. Right. I don't trust you. So I think what you're alluding to is more earlier in the offseason. Is that correct?
Sure.
Okay. And I think that could be it. It's like we attacked. We know we could get this guy. So let's go and get it because it's there and it does help us. But maybe at the end of the day, you look back and it's like, well, now that these other cards fell, maybe we could have done that early part different.
And to be honest with you, I think a prime example of it is the Oviedo trade.
Okay.
I know that wasn't really a spent money type of situation. But if I am Ben Sherrington right now and I'm looking at the way this roster is constructed, the way this team stands right now, I would rather have Johan Oviedo right now than Garcia. Curious what people think about that. I think Oviedo helps this team a heck of a lot more than Garcia will this year. And let's be honest, this is the year that this team needs to compete.
For
2027,
sure.
2028, be damned. This is the year they need to go. We don't know what's going to happen in 2027. We don't know if there's going to even be a season played.
Right. Even if there is, how much of a season?
Right. So I think if you really looked back at it, I don't know if the Pirates would still make that move, because the way this rotation is set up right now, I think Oviedo makes them a heck of a lot better. Maybe not a heck of a lot, but I feel a lot more comfortable about this team if Johan Oviedo is a Pittsburgh Pirate.
Yeah, so let's hear your voices, guys. If you're on YouTube, the link is pinned there. That takes you right to our Twitter Spaces. If you're in the Twitter Spaces, go ahead and request. You can join, because we do want to hear your takes and your thoughts on this, because I think you can certainly question it. And, of course, most teams have these same questions. Like, this is an outlier. We're not trying to be greedy in a sense, but let's take a look back at this offseason. And it does. Like, it's funny. It started with that trade. That was basically the very first move Ben Cherington made. Traded Oviedo, got Garcia, and another, low-level prospect. There's something there with him, but again, he's still so far away. At the time, I think that was also kind of your viewpoint. Does this really make 2026 better? The trade's fine in a sense. You have these rotation arms as depth to trade away, and they did so, and they got an interesting prospect who's MLB ready, or at least close to it. But now that you had Brandon Lau come in, now that you had Jake Mangum come in, now that you have Ryan Hearn, now you have Marcell Ozuna, and you also traded to get some other arms. I think that's where you're coming into play here. It's like, well, now that you know that, would you have rather have kept Oviedo so you're not worried about the depth? Because that's a hot topic right now. The rotation's solid. There's a lot of talent, but is the depth truly there? Oviedo as a number 5 starter for this team in 2026, like you're talking about. Now this rotation looks really good, and there's depth everywhere. Like you feel very comfortable with the depth, and you feel very comfortable with the upside. And does that make this team better in 2026 than Garcia being here? And I think that's the question you present. So yeah, like that's what I want to hear from other people as well, and their thoughts, or some other thoughts you might have.
Yeah, I think we can look back at a lot of this. And we can critique and criticize things, but like you said earlier, it does take 2 to tango. Some of these guys, like, if we really wanted to get into the nitty-gritty, yeah, sure, they should have signed Eugenio Suarez over Marcell Ozuna. Sure, in a perfect world, that's great.
Right.
It didn't seem like he wanted to come here. So I'm not going to beat the Pirates over the head about that, although I'm not happy about it. I wish they would have found a way to make it work. But it does take 2 to do this. More of when we get into some of these moves that they made, like another one that has been brought up a good bit is the Gregory Soto trade, or acquisition, I should say. You mentioned that the password trade there earlier. This one as well, the Soto signing. I was pretty much on board off the bat. I hated this thing. I don't like this signing at all. I still really don't like it. I think he's a solid pitcher. I don't like the allocation of funds with him. I don't think $7.5 million is... I don't think he's worth that to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't think it's an efficient spending of resources. And then I want
to add to that, because I want to make sure you're getting that point off. It's not so much that you don't like him, the pitcher.
Right.
You just more or less don't like the allocation when there's a finite amount. And at that point in time, we're thinking maybe it's only $30 million. At this point, it's about $40 million, but using $7.5 million of that finite amount on this reliever. That's more where you're coming into play, right?
Exactly. And if we're looking at $103 million payroll right now, $7.5 million of that going to Gregory Soto, to me, is absolutely silly. So to me, that is an absolute mistake of a signing this offseason.
So I look at it this way. That's a guy they were targeting. That's a guy they liked. And that's a guy who's willing to sign right away. And so, like, at the time, it's like, let's get this done. We got it. We solved our, left-handed reliever situation here. It's not going to be Evan Sisk. We got Gregory Soto in here. We feel more comfortable. But then, what was it, a week and a half later, they make the trade with the Tampa Bay Rays, and they get Mason Montgomery, who, by the way, numbers-wise, like, terrible season, right? I mean, there's nothing given. Like, Gregory Soto, much better pitcher in the sense of, like, what was accomplished last year than Mason Montgomery. However, Mason Montgomery has some really interesting stuff. So I guess to your point, if you fast forward and now you're getting Mason Montgomery, does that now make you feel not so much foolish, but somewhat to that degree of like, well, now did you want to use that $7.5 million on Gregory Soto, or were you, Tyler? I'm asking you, are you comfortable with having like a Mason Montgomery for that, and then being able to use those $7.5 million somewhere else?
I would be more comfortable with Mason Montgomery plus probably someone other than Gregory Soto on the cheaper end.
Oh, okay. So keep adding, but find.
I would have found a different left-handed option than Soto.
Okay.
At the end, we're talking about a guy that has a 4 ERA every single year. He's erratic. He walks too many guys, and he blows up too often. Yeah, the FIP looks great. Results matter.
Now,
$7.5 million for this guy. I really did. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. It's $7.5 million for any other team. It's dropping the bucket. I think they could have done a lot better with that. I think for God's sake, just pay David Bednar $9 million in arbitration and call it a day.
now I'm with you on that. Trust me, and you know that. I mean, actually, what should have been done was last offseason, sign him to an extension, like a 3-year extension, probably cheaper than $9 million per year based on what he was coming off of, but staying home, getting that guaranteed money. Anyways, moving past that, I think that's all a fair point. Now, to play devil's advocate, the Pirates certainly liked Soto. I mean, it seemed like that was the guy in their eyes. And this is also a team who's done very well in their acquisitions of pitchers. So, like, what I understand what you're saying, like he has had a 4 ERA pretty much every year, right? Like what he does. What if they know, like, hey, this is the guy we know we can do X, Y, Z with? He comes in and like this is like one of those better seasons he has.
My problem is that I don't feel like that's what they did.
Okay.
I feel like this was almost a panic acquisition where they didn't think they were going to get much and they spent money on this guy just trying to make a move.
Okay.
And I think looking back at it, if you give Ben Cherington some truth serum, I think he would regret this move.
Some truth serum. Oh boy, I would love to give Ben Cherington some truth serum.
Maybe that's what we do tomorrow. We're going to give Ben Cherington some truth serum. Just joking. Just joking.
We will no longer be doing shows at Lecon Park, fellas. Sorry. Our credentials have been revoked.
Just joking. Right. No, I love everything you did this offseason, Ben. Please let us come back.
But I mean, again, I think these are all fair points. You know, if you knew exactly what was going to happen this offseason, maybe the password one's still out there, though. You know, I mean, I can also kind of see like, hey, that's available for, again, like I understand 2026, he might not help out, but you have your opportunity, your chance to get someone with that type of power, that type of upside. And again, with all of that also comes the risks of he's a bust and you don't get any of that. You know, so I'm not trying to just hype him up. You know, if you want to know what we have to say about him, listen to our show. The trade was made and, you know, we pulled up all these concerns, but there's still a guy with some upside. And if you can acquire a guy like that for the next 6 years, maybe it still is worth it. Like I understand it might not help 2026, but we'll still find a way. And at the same time, they did, right? Like this might not help 2026, but they did find some nice offense to go around. So like, you're not relying on Garcia. And that was our biggest point there too. It's like, they didn't make the trade to say like, oh, we solved left field. They didn't. They've added on. They got Mangum. They got Lau. They got O'Hearn. They got Marcelo Ozuna. You know what I mean? So like they've made enough moves this year to improve the offense to a degree that I think they feel comfortable with. Sure, you can debate third base or not, but they've certainly improved. However, of course, we understand the rotation and where that stands. But like I can't truly follow. Like I still think you could probably make that move because you're still adding offensive talent into this system that is lacking it. And you know, to find a long-term solution while you're still finding short-term around it isn't a terrible thing to do. But I certainly can agree with you that keeping Oviedo does make the 2026 team better. And ultimately, right now, that is what matters.
It is, and I'm very curious to hear everybody else's opinion here. Go ahead and click that speak button. We'll go ahead and let you in so that you can give your thoughts on the offseason here. I know Bucko Mike wants to talk. He always does.
Everybody but Bucko Mike is allowed to come on because I'm still getting DMs by Bucko Mike. I'll get a random DM 3:00 in the morning. I'll get a DM by Bucko Mike, and what's it say? Skeens arbitration, $120 million. That's it. That's all it is. Still these silly comments.
Yeah, we got some frequent flyers in here. We got Bucko Mike. We got Greg. There's another person in here that likes Louisville a little bit too much that I don't really need to hear speak.
Right.
I'll hear him enough next week.
King Baraki, I want to hear you talk some too, even though you're in Chicago right now. By the way, I don't know if he saw this, but I think it's Pirates adjacent relevance, right? He's with the White Sox now. He hates the Cubs, apparently. He was talking about that in an interview with the White Sox and how like he grew up a White Sox fan and like he hates the Cubs. I just found it funny because he was with the Cubs for how long? Maybe that's why he was bad there. He just hated himself.
I mean, who doesn't hate the Cubs?
I don't know.
Yeah. Again, to get back to our original point, I don't think this was not a bad offseason. I think long-term, Oviedo for Garcia is probably a good move. Where the Pirates are right now, I don't know if I still would have made that move. Because after trading Oviedo and after trading Burrows, I am not super comfortable with this rotation.
Yeah. It's all fair. It is all fair. You know, I think we all anticipated the move was probably going to be Mitch Keller just because also you get that salary relief. So that gives you $17 million to also add another pitcher, right? Like to replace Mitch Keller. And then also add on to the offense in a sense. And that's not what happened. So, you know, like they've lost two pitchers. They didn't really supplement them. They're just kind of going into the year as is. I mean, I guess you can say Jose Urquidy, but Urquidy, sorry. But like again, that's not safe. That's not like, oh, this is definitely the number 5 starter. That's just like here's somebody who can battle for a spot. So yeah, I think that is all fair. Outside of those two, though, do you think there's anything else that they're looking like in hindsight?
To me, those are the big two. I think if you're looking back in hindsight, more of it would be the guys you missed on. So, like, you look at, and it's probably more if you shift some money around in other places. Like, they probably could have went with, and it's not a great option, but like Mike Tauchman's not a terrible outfielder. If they wanted to put some money elsewhere, play him in the outfield, that probably would have worked out. Obviously, I already mentioned Suarez being an option that would have loved to go after. I think, though, one of the things that just looking at the way this shook out and the amount of money they spent, I am almost glad they didn't get Kyle Schwarber because I don't know if they would have spent any more. They might have been hunting for scraps after that.
The whole Schwarber thing is very interesting because you can argue, we can certainly have that argument if they're truly in on him. I mean, they were truly in on him to an extent. They gave their best offer apparently, but just like you said, like just pretend that happened. They have $10 more million after Kyle Schwarber. That, I mean, so far they've spent. I mean, they're going to spend 30. They've spent 40 essentially this offseason. So you can imagine there's just like 10 million more to go with. So you solve your DH. Kutch is still gone because Schwarber's there. What are they building around it? Like you said, you know, I mean, they add Lowe, they add Marcell Ozuna, they add Ryan O'Hearn. I mean, does O'Hearn still happen? Like, are they extending themselves to go still also get O'Hearn or also get this Lau trade done? Which, I mean, I guess the Lau trade doesn't really change too much, but I mean, Gregory Soto's gone. Like that happens and that's it. You have $3 million more to work with, you know? So it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's very interesting. Like what would have happened if the Schwarber thing transpired?
Right. Like if they would have spent, let's just say he goes for $25 million. Then what? Like, are we talking about Urquidy, Tauchman? Then what? I mean, you're Tommy Pham coming back?
Yeah.
There's
the true stars
so
and
the way it
approach.
shook out. The way it shook out here, I think I am more comfortable that didn't happen. And maybe they would have spent more if they would have got Schwarber. Maybe they would have. But the allocation, to me, was more good than bad. There were just a few spots in there that I don't know if I loved.
Yeah. I think it's all fair. I mean, I think they got good value, at least market price on everyone. You know, even like with Gregory Soto, like I understand where you're coming from, the percentage toward there's payroll, but like that's his value, that's his worth. So it's not like they went out and just like gave him like $10 million. And it's like, wow, you also overpaid for this. You know, it's wild. I mean, it's about the going rate for what he is. So like, yeah, I think in hindsight, like, I think the other one too is like just going out there and maybe have to overextend yourself a little more than you're comfortable with, but maybe getting one of those third basemen. That way it's like truly solving a problem, because I guess my thing is like, do you want to spend $18 million for those third basemen or the $12 million you're doing on Marcell Ozuna? I think that's fair. Now, obviously Marcell Ozuna is like 1 year likely and you're out of here. So like there's not the long-term commitment where the other ones do, but at the same time, like that helps solve your third base issue, because I don't think there's really a solution there for long-term either. Like there's not a third baseman coming up that you're saying like, hey, I don't want to sign these guys. We're going to pass the torch to, you know, it's nobody. I mean, who's going to be third base in the future that's in the system right now? Like Murph Gray's not going to be that guy anytime soon. Hopefully like he does become a prospect and he is a solution later on, but it's not going to be for another 2 years, like at the very minimum.
Yeah, and I think in a perfect world, like they probably get Okamoto.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, he comes to the Pirates, and a lot of things are solved.
I think everyone's like I think that's a valid question. Marcell Ozuna, I get the bat; it certainly plays, but he also isn't a great fit, and he puts other people in not their best situations, so it kind of lowers their value. And if you went and got a real third baseman, everyone's put in their positions to give true peak value. So it might cost you a little bit more, but I think everyone's in a safer situation. And of course, that puts Jared Triolo in that super utility role, which also in my mind, I could be wrong, but like in my mind, that puts him at his peak value. So I just feel like, yeah, that's another like look back. But again, they are the Pittsburgh Pirates. They can't really be choosers. So they were dealt the hand they were dealt. They made the most of it. And honestly, we are talking about a team that I think can contend for the playoffs. I think we got some requests.
Yeah, we do. Carter wanted to talk there, but he went away. I guess I'll let Jim on.
Oh, Carter, come back. Carter, please.
It was Carter.
Carter, please come back.
We got to deal with Jim now.
This is it. This is just a podcast now. Who's letting Jim on?
Well, apparently Twitter's not, because there we go, Carter. We're letting you on instead.
Oh, let's go.
As long as it lets him.
Thanks for letting me come on here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
What's going on, man?
We were panicking.
Oh, sorry. Well, dude, if I'm the only one to show up, this show is going to be pretty bad. I'm sorry. I was just.
You're better than the other option for sure.
Thank you. I love Jim though. I cannot lie.
Never mind.
Sorry. I just want to talk about how you say they're given the hand that they're dealt when it comes to signing people, like DiNardo said. I don't believe that. I mean, Ben has been the GM for 7 years now. They could have just been signing guys from the very beginning. And then up until this point, they try this offseason to – well, I'd be lying if I said they just started to try this offseason. We've heard reports about Okamoto. Oh, not Okamoto. Yeah, we heard reports about Okamoto. And then even before that, we heard points about Soto Imanaga.
Yep.
Even guys like Son Manaya, I heard that they tried to sign him to a pretty decent contract. It's just to the point where I don't think they knew how to do it, to the point where you have to overspend, especially if you are the Pirates, to try to get guys. And I appreciate them trying now, like getting Ozuna, getting O'Hearn, and even trading for Lau is a great start for doing it. It's just, I know you guys talked about this 800, 900 times about how you wished it happened already so many times. It's just, they could have been doing this years ago. It sucks now that they did it, even more so to the point where this is obviously Ben's last year. So it's even more desperate to the point you get at. It's I'm happy for what they did, and I'm happy that they did what they did now. It's just kind of sad that we couldn't get the high-ranking free agents now, which would have been a perfect year to do it now. Imagine getting Schwarber or Okamoto. I still do think they get a third baseman, and I still do think they get a starting pitcher. And I'm pretty happy for what they did right now, especially if they signed Connor Griffin to an extension. But I appreciate you guys hearing me out, and I would love to hear what you guys think about this stuff. I know we're probably the same talking points, but I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, no, of course, and I appreciate coming on.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, I do want to say something here, and you bring up a good point. And yeah, we probably have said this like 900 times, probably even longer, because you're correct. It's not so much that they're playing the hand they dealt because like, oh, whoa, us. They made their bed and they're lying in it now. Like that is the majority of the problem, because they waited until like this year to essentially say like, hey, we should maybe do something. This is the problem. People don't trust the Pirates. People look at the Pirates and like, you're a 71 team last year. Like, are you going to win? Are you going to invest? If I come here, do I trust that I'm going to have a winning team around me? This goes back to 2022, 2023. The one thing we talked about in 2023 when they added Carlos Santana, Rich Hill, it was like, hey, you guys should have been doing, like, this is the bare minimum, but like, this is something you should have been doing for a while. Let's start building that culture. Let's maybe get some guys here long term so there's a foundation being built, because when you get to this moment, people are going to say, yeah, I see what you're building. I want to be part of it. So that's a good point, and that's 100% correct. This isn't just oh, poor Ben Cherington, oh, poor Bob Nutting, oh, poor Pittsburgh Pirates. They created this. But the realization is, because of what they created, they were dealt this hand this offseason. Ty?
No, I'm glad that Carter brought that up there. Because it is a bed that they made. The reason that they had to go do all these things right now is because they did nothing the last few off seasons, and they didn't develop well enough. They missed on too many drafts, and Ben Cherington missed too often. That's why they had to go out and acquire so many outside acquisitions. So yeah, he's completely right there. I agree as well. I like what they've done this offseason, but yeah, this is kind of a sins of the past type of deal. They're trying to make up for what they've screwed up the last 6 years. Now we just got to hope it works, and that the Paul Skeens and Connor Griffin draft picks are good enough to kind of dance around the other issues they've made or that they've created.
And I know Connor hasn't proven anything yet, but we all know the hype around him. And it's wild that,
ridiculous.
This team could have, if Connor Griffin lives up to even close to the hype, even just close to it, and Paul Skeens on the team together. I go back and think about the 2013 through 15 teams. And the reason I do is because there are a lot of similarities to some level. Those teams are built off of pitching. Never do they have like a offense that's going to blow you away. Oftentimes they're not. Right. It was like in the bottom half. It was just good. No, it was never at the bottom, right? It's still trending towards the middle, but it wasn't like they were blowing you off, because of their offense. Like, this is a team that was built off of pitching, and the offense was just good enough to get by. And I feel like that's what the Pirates have sort of emulated right now. I mean, the bullpen isn't anywhere near what it was back then. I mean, the bullpen was dominant then. So that's a big difference. But we understand what the pitching is. We understand what the offense is. They've done enough to get them close to league average, I feel. So, like, with that said, they had Kutch back then. And that's a big difference. Like, they had the MVP of the league on their team. They kind of do right now in Paul Skeens. It's on the other end. It's on the pitching side. But, like, this is also a team that might have, as we're mentioning, Connor Griffin. And if he's close to what he is, not right away, but, like, this is a guy who might be contending for MVP also. So you're talking about, like, maybe one of the best infielders in baseball and the best pitcher in baseball all on the same team. And, yeah, that makes a huge difference.
For sure. And I think Jim's raising his hand because he wants to talk. I
And
think he needs to take himself off of mute.
What's up, guys?
hey,
Hi, Jim.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. Tyler, can you repeat what you said about Kyle Schwarber?
Probably not.
You said something along the lines of you're actually sort of happy they didn't get Schwarber.
And what I meant by that there, Jim, was that with the resources they spent, I'm glad $25 million of it didn't go to Kyle Schwarber, and then they had to fill it up with the rest. I would have loved Kyle Schwarber, of course. What they spent, the allocation of that would have been a little tough.
That's one of the dumbest things you've ever said.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Dude, who cares what you do with the rest of the money? It's Kyle Schwarber. You have Kyle Schwarber. Like, it's $25 million. That's twice as much as what they spent on Marcell Ozuna. And he's twice the player that he is. You wouldn't have had to gone out there and even gotten Ryan O'Hearn. You could have gotten out there and signed Mike Talkman or whatever, because you just signed Kyle freaking Schwarber. So, no, I don't think it would. Being afraid of what they would have done with the other resources had they signed Kyle Schwarber is crazy talk. Crazy talk. So, one, bad take, Tyler. Two, also, another bad take. Gregory Soto is the second best reliever on this team right now. And
Okay, good for him.
I don't think you could have gone into spring training with Mason Montgomery and Evan Sisk as your left-handed relievers. I mean, you were like the ERAs in the fours, but better FIPS. Like, dude, his numbers are like, you look at the underlying numbers, which is how you measure relievers. It's small sample sizes. You can't really go by ERA. You got to go by the other stuff. And then by all accounts, Gregory Soto still has every bit the good stuff that he had when he was putting together All-Star season. So I'm happy with the Soto signing. I think if you gave Ben Cherington truth serum, he'd say he's happy with the Soto signing. And yeah, I wouldn't want to go into the offseason with Sisk and Montgomery. And if you needed to add another lefty who wasn't as good as Soto, we wouldn't be in as good of a situation here. So I just wanted to come on here and yell at you for a little bit because we'd gone like 30 minutes with no one else talking. So shout out Carter. It's been the best part of the show so far. We need more people talking on this outside DiNardo and Tyler. Get some other voices. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, because one thing I want to say, these front office apologists,
that was
one
one of the
them will
worst calls I've ever had.
never make it in the podcast game. So I hope this guy never intends on starting a podcast.
Yeah, we're talking about a reliever. Like, he's allowing over a base runner an inning. He allows someone on base every time he is in the game. More often than not, and sometimes two. Because he walks so many damn people. Not consistent. Because he's never going to be a back-end guy, a reliable back-end guy, because he's not consistent enough. And he's not. He never has been. Well, he has. He was better with the Tigers. But the last 3 years, he has not been that guy.
We have another requester, Tyler. I love how Jim just triggered you, because I wanted to make sure we were clear. You like Soto as the player, just the allocation of the funds. And you said yes, and now Jim's triggered you enough that now you're just shitting all over Soto.
Yeah, I have to, because we're talking about a guy. We are talking about a guy.
This is why Jim's an evil
has
person.
Not been that good since 2022, because he allows too many base runners and he's inconsistent. He walks too many people. That's it. They've got enough of those dudes, and I don't want to spend $7.5 million on him.
Well, they're going to give him the Ray Searage treatment this year.
Yeah, he might be a fine seventh inning guy. I don't want to spend $7.5 on it. Anywho, Kenyon wants to speak. What's going on, Kenyon? Let me make sure I can do this correctly.
Tyler's fired up. This week one with Tyler and Jim in the same house is going to be something now.
Kenyon, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, guys. I might sound like the other Carter that just popped on, but that's actually my twin brother. I'm not even joking.
Nice.
Oh.
Not joking. I'm one of the I was one of the main guys that did the whole protest and stuff like that. The our team, not his type shit that happened last year and stuff like that. But I'm just here to say that I'm happy to see, even though I hate the owner and stuff like that, I'm happy to see that the Pirates are going to be competitive this year. I only went to 3 games last year. It was opening day whenever me and my group got that plane and banner and got everybody to – I got that plane and banner and then the whole sell the team chance on opening day and stuff like that. I was there, and then I was there for the last game of the season and stuff like that. I'm definitely excited to come out and support the Pirates again. Not changing my side. I still hate Bob Nutting to the death and stuff like that. I'm happy that I'm honestly happy the lockout's coming, and I'm happy that the salary cap in floor is going to make Bob Nutting spend the money that he definitely does have to spend. So I'm excited.
Well, let me ask you something, because I think it's a fair question, because with what you've done, you and your group have accomplished, there's been a lot of discourse around that as well. Is this detrimental to the team and what they're doing, or is this going to send a message? And I think it's clear to look, the attendance was down last year. So there was certainly a thought that payroll might not even reach the $93 million it was last year. Like, it could go down. I mean, that would be what they typically do. That would be align themselves on how they operate their payroll. Now, it's only $10 million. It's only $103 million now. We're not talking about they just blew the glass off the ceiling here and blew through it, but they spent more. So I want to ask you, do you think what you guys have done, and you're hearing the sell the team chants around the stadium often, like, do you think that message was received by Bob Nutting this year?
I'm too humble to ever admit that my group or anything about that was the reason that happened. There's only 10 actual people that are staying in constant contact with each other.
Well, and just expand it from this, you guys personally, and that individual group, but just collectively as a lot of fans were in Pittsburgh. Do you think this was more like, hey, message received with Bob Nutting?
Well, I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, no. Because if you look at the payroll that we had in 2013, 14, 15, it was higher. And then adjusting for inflation in this year, no. It's like $100 million now is definitely not as much as what 120 or whatever the highest payroll was in 2015. It's not comparable. It's like, I mean, it looks good on a chart and stuff like that, $100 million, but it's definitely not worth as much as what it was back 10 years ago.
Yeah. My bank account says so too.
Yeah, same, man. No,
appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I appreciate you there, Canyon. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, we got to do what we can here.
Hey, man, I'm always, me and my group are always thinking of new things. We were the guys who did it during the Pitt game, Notre Dame, stuff like that. We're always thinking of shit to do. We were the guys that, that one famous video of Bob Nutting getting yelled at on the rotunda. That was us. We're always thinking of shit to do. Every day we're coming up with new things.
Appreciate the call here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate you coming on. But I'll leave you with this. It's not Bob Nutting who feels the pressure of us. It's his family that feels the pressure. I know that for certain. I'll leave you guys with that. I appreciate you guys having me on. I appreciate all you guys do. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Canyon, Carter, appreciate you both coming on. The twins.
The twins. We got a special guest here. Waiting on her to load up.
I think it is. I think Greg has to just unmute himself.
Well, there was another one coming in.
Hey, guys, you had me on speaker.
There's Greg.
There he is.
What's going on, Greg?
Hey, guys. You had me on speaker with the last guy, so I left my mic on mute. I didn't want to.
Appreciate you. We're still working through this
Get
whole
on my.
spaces concept.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I completely understand. I wasn't really even going to come on tonight, but because I think a lot of people are not going to like my opinion about this, but I think Ryan O'Hearn. I wouldn't have done the Ryan O'Hearn deal.
Ooh.
I would have definitely allocated that money towards the third baseman. I don't know. That's my thing. Like, the third base was the biggest hole. I think O'Hearn's definitely better than Kutch. That would have been.
I appreciate that take
there,
there, Greg.
I believe at the time.
I do appreciate that take. It's a
like
little different.
when they signed O'Hearn,
it's something that I think. I mean, we're going to see what happens with it, obviously, but that's something in the back of my head too. That like O'Hearn, I like him a lot. Positionally, it's a weird fit here. Like, there's a lot of weird fits here.
Exactly. And I agree with you on Gregory Soto. I wouldn't have given him $7.5 million. There's no way. I think Jim jumping on there criticizing you. I don't agree with Jim there.
So what you're saying is
Greg,
Jim is
why you're my guy.
just
O'Hearn,
full of terrible
I
opinions.
wouldn't have done it. No, not always. No, definitely not. I think Jim got a lot of good opinions, but I think he just messing with Tyler. That's all.
Well, he's wrong. But Greg, we do appreciate you here. I appreciate you having my back here. Even after last week when you jumped back on, I was like, I didn't just listen because of Tyler. But
well, no, I mean that's the way it kind of I made it sound though. Like, I mean you're how I found North Shore 9. That's basically what I was trying to say.
Here we go again, Greg. What the heck?
No, you're my boy, Tyler. You're definitely my boy.
Sure. We got a few more here,
yeah,
but
I would have used the O'Hearn money, and I would have got it.
What would you have done with the O'Hearn money?
Sorry, guys. I would have got a third baseman with it. I would have offered Okamoto definitely more. Yeah. I think he was the missing piece. I could do without Eugenio Suarez. I'd rather have Ozuna than Suarez, honestly, but I would have used that O'Hearn money and got a third baseman and signed him for $4 or something for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair point.
But I'll let you guys go.
Well, Greg, as always, we appreciate you, even if you like Tyler, but hate more on Jim, because that's the correct take. I'll allow Tyler love it as long as you hate on Jim.
No, I appreciate Greg too much. He's the best. All right, we got Bucko Mike in here as well, and then we got another one after that, but let's get Bucko Mike in. As soon as he unmutes himself, there he is.
Hello.
What's going on, Bucko Mike?
Yeah, not too much. Jim's takes are terrible as normal. Them trying to sign Schwarber and then have allocated another $15 million towards other people. They wouldn't have been able to fill all the holes that they needed to fill this offseason, like they did. Gregory Soto was. I agree with you, Tyler, on this one. He's not really that good of a signing. They spent 8% of their total payroll on Gregory Soto, which, watching AL Central baseball like I have over the last 20 years or so,
because you're
not really
a Guardians fan, we're aware.
Not my God, Mike.
that's pretty much all I have. Oh, one other thing, Tyler, I did hear some rumors about you, some sources that you got busted in Braden for picking up some Ukraine booty. So,
Haven't been down there
I
yet,
don't know if
Mike.
there's any what the truth behind this was, but it was reported by a Tony DiNardo that you got busted for picking up a woman without her green card. So I don't know.
I hate this man so much.
You need to kind of let us know about that. So thank you.
Appreciate you, Mike. You're the best.
Bucko Mike got shooters everywhere.
He does. He got sources everywhere. That's why he's the man.
What is wrong with this guy?
You know what? All I heard was I agree with Tyler. I disagree with Jim. Good points there. We got Alexander in here as well. Wants to share his thoughts. It does take a little while for X to load in spaces, as I've learned. But hey, a couple people back to back that agree with Tyler and call Jim dumb.
It's a good day. I can't wait for Vincent tomorrow.
Can't be mad. Can't be mad at all.
I feel bad for Doug having to pick up such a loser at the airport, bringing him to the Airbnb.
Yeah, it was supposed to be me and Doug here tonight.
It's going to be an awkward conversation with Doug and Jim. Someone so beloved by the people and then someone so hated and wrong.
Yep. Yeah.
Did we get Alexander on?
I don't know what's happening with spaces. He was accepted, but
right.
There we go. What's going on, Alexander?
Oh, pretty good. I'm the guy from Washington State.
So, I remember. What's going on?
Yeah, not too much. I'm listening, and all these scenarios that you came up with, they've already happened, and I think it's just dwelling on what we did wrong. And I think every team has that issue. You know, hindsight, like you said, is 2020. But what do we have now? We have maybe everybody's talking about Jared Triolo. Well, nobody's talking about Jared Triolo. Everybody's talking about filling third base. Has he ever been told you are our third baseman? You know, because it seems like whenever he gets consistent playing time, he does well. When he bounces around is when he doesn't hit. Do you agree with that?
So I do. I actually do. I said it a couple shows ago.
On that message.
I did say it a couple shows ago that I was curious what would happen if you put Jerry Triolo at third base every day and just see what happens. The problem is that I don't know if the Pirates are in that situation where they can allow that to happen. Because if he struggles, they're in trouble. If he hits like he did early last year, early year before that, hell, even the beginning of his rookie year, like they're in trouble.
Yeah, but you could say that about any player. You could say that about a lot of players. Ozuna's a question mark because last year wasn't that great. I keep on telling myself, well, it's because of his hip. And so now that his hip is supposedly okay, nobody's spoken. Is he 100%? He passed the physical. Is he doing all right?
I'd assume so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, he's 35 years old. There's definitely some risk there.
Yeah.
But we're talking about, we are only 2 years removed from him being in fourth place of an NL MVP. It's been a while since they've had a guy like that.
As a DH
right,
also,
exactly.
by the way, which
Right.
that says something.
Right. I am actually optimistic about this year, which kind of scares me. So I'm just
same.
But I really think that Triolo, I'm sure he's hearing all this negativity that's actually towards him. We need a third baseman. We need a third baseman. And I'm sure he doesn't hang around social media like all the time because I think it would be very depressing if I was in his position to know that nobody wants me and they're always talking about replacing me. I could use that as a motivational tool and I guess he can, I think he'll do fine. I really do. I think he'll probably be right. If he gets around 700 OPS, that would be awesome.
And I agree.
He's around 700. Yeah, I do too.
For sure. I mean, we've been talking for how long? Like, if Brian Hayes could just be league average, how valuable that is. So what you're really describing is that if he can have a 500 OPS, now the defense isn't as good as Brian Hayes, but it's still very good. I mean, if he's going to have like a 700 OPS, you're talking about a 3-war player. I mean, easily. And again, like a 700 OPS does not hurt you. You know, I mean, that 700 OPS is good for a third best last year, basically. You know, like that's not going to hurt the team, and the glove helps you. You know, so like what we're worried about with Jared Triolo is if the glove with the offense that people are undecided on what that will bring. If it's going to be first half 2025, Jared Triolo, is he going to hurt you even with that glove? So yeah, I mean, you could get a 700 OPS. Like, I'll take that all day. I think the problem is, do you trust that's going to happen? And like to Tyler's point, are they in the situation to? Can they afford that? Yeah. The whole regular playing time at third base. I do think there's something to that, right? But I think that also he can get more or less regular playing time as a super utility, especially with this team. You talk about Marcell Ozuna being 35 years old after a hip injury. Even though he's a DH, probably going to get some days off. Brian Reynolds probably want to get out of the field some. Lau, right? He has an injury history. You want to probably get him off the field sometimes. So, like, I feel like there is opportunity to have Jared Triolo play probably 4 times a week easily, being that utility guy. And to me, that's why I really like him in that role, because he has such a good glove. He can play it all around, that him there is going to be much better than like a Nick Gonzalez coming in to play and whatnot. But what I also want to add here, and it's funny because like Fort mentioned this, I feel like every time he comes on, but it's like people knowing the role. And I think that's a good point. I think that's what I'll combat you with. It's not so much getting regular playing time. It's knowing what you are going to do, knowing what's expected of you. And right now he knows he's going to be a third baseman and he's expected that like the everyday guy. But like maybe if he also knew like you are going to be a super utility guy, he can go out there and do that role and succeed in it. Whereas last year, like, I don't know what you're going to be. You might be our second baseman. Yeah. You might be the utility guy. You might be the third baseman. It's like he had a different role at the time. And it wasn't until he got the third base role. It's like, okay, now I know what I'm doing every day. And maybe that's also why he succeeded, because he also played really, really well in 2023, right? Or was that 2? Right. And I mean, he was essentially like a utility guy.
Great.
Yeah, and I wonder, I guess also what matters is your state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the state of mind last year couldn't have been good for the entire team.
Mm-hmm.
And so they gave up, in a sense, they did. And so the hitting went down. Now everybody's really, I know it's spring training, but it's legitimately, the hopes are high legitimately. Having said that, that's contagious as far as hitting. I'm looking at it from psychologically, it's got to help players like Triolo, heck, and having Ozuna with Cruz is a positive. Yep. And Reynolds is Reynolds. I think he would have done. I don't think he's affected as badly as much as that, but yeah, state of mind. That's all.
Yeah, appreciate you there, Alexander. A lot of good points, I think, as well. And you also agreed with me a good bit, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yep, not confrontational. Yeah. That's me.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for jumping on, man. Like,
thank you very much. Thanks for both.
Appreciate it. Lots of good thoughts.
Right.
No, I do agree with a lot of what he just said.
Oh, I absolutely do. And again, like that's why I do feel. I mean, there is something to it. And again, like
for sure,
playing every day, I think can help him. But I think also what goes into that is like knowing what your role is. And obviously right now I'm the third baseman, so that helps. I did want to just play this.
And you guys need to keep believing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what he's saying here also is like, they just got to believe. And I think this is one thing that's also is important. I mean, this is like the first offseason. I feel like the teams can together believe and have hope. Like actually, when I look to my left, I look to my right, like we can do this. I actually believe we can do it.
Right.
This isn't like, hey, it's a new season and, everyone has hope at the beginning of the year. This is like legit. Like, you know what? Let's do something here. There's Paul Skeens. Like there's this pitching staff. We add all this offense. Like let's go out there and do it. I can actually believe in ourselves now. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
I agree. And then it's a lot of not treating these guys like robots. But we have another call here. Southside Stan. It'll probably take me about 20 minutes to figure out how to work Twitter Spaces because it takes forever to get through here.
Oh, I think we got
Stan,
him.
there we are. What's going on, Stan?
Hey, just something, and love the show and stuff, but just looking at the whole off season, it seems to me that there was something that was supposed to happen between the Lowe, O'Hearn, Soto acquisitions, and then Ozuna out of nowhere. The EDC is signing for this franchise to make this offseason was for Kutch for 1 year, $5 million, fill that DH spot here and there. Whether it's playing right field, once a week, anything like that. What do you think that move that didn't happen was? Was it a Beatty, Vientos, a Royce Lewis trade that just never happened? And I think it just highlights this offseason why Ben Cherington shouldn't be the GM of the Pittsburgh Pirates at this point. He turned the worst offense into the worst defensive outfield that we will see in the last 10 years.
I'll say this, that second part's fair.
I think if we're looking at whatever move it was, I feel like it was almost the Okamoto one. I think that was the guy they targeted. And I don't think that one worked out. They pivoted to Suarez. He didn't want to come here. And then I think they had to make a move to just get one more bat. And I think that's where Ozuna came in. I know that based on nothing. That's just the way it feels like that's the way it worked out.
Yeah, it just feels like there was something that was supposed to happen between the desperation of signing a 35-year-old coming off his worst season in 4 or 5 years since COVID, who's aging. Just made no sense to me, especially when you have Kutch in your back pocket for half that price.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can pinpoint like this was the thing they're waiting on, but I think I kind of agree with Tyler. It was just like a plethora of stuff and nothing came to fruition. And, it's like, I mean, Jim wanted to mention it on our Bucko Brew. When you really look at the free agent market, like there's really nothing out there because we're like hyper focused on third base, really. But there's just one guy. It's not a good fit though. But like as far as a hitter goes, like Marcell Ozuna's out there. He's the best hitter. He's like the only guy that's an actual difference maker. If you're going to look into free agency, right? And I guess that's kind of where, like, as you mentioned, desperation to some sense where Ben Cherington turned to. It's like, this is the only guy that's out here that we can add. And again, like, it's not a perfect fit. You mentioned about the offense. I'm sorry, the defense and the outfield is probably the best. The worst. Okay, let me start fresh. The defense in the outfield is going to be the worst we've seen in a decade. And I think that's true. And that's not just like such a slight. I mean, there's been good defenders in the outfield for 10 years, but no Cruz, not sure what he's going to be. Reynolds he had a terrible year at left field 2 years ago. Right field was fine, I guess, last year. O'Hearn's going to be like a mainstay. So like, yeah, it's probably going to be one of the worst outfielders that we've seen. But at the end of the day, I don't hate what they've done. Again, going back to like what Carter was talking about, like they made their bed. Understand that they're laying in it, but this is kind of what they're dealt with. Like if they're missing out of Okamoto and they're missing out, if those were the pieces, well, they're missing out on them because they had better options. Like, don't you want to go to the World Series winner last year in Toronto and probably be marketable there? Like there's just a lot of things that line up on other teams going against the Pirates. So yeah, that's what they're left with. And it's like, all right, let's pivot to Marcell Ozuna now.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the read I get out of it, based on really nothing. But that just watching it happen, it feels like they just missed on enough guys where they felt like they had to get one more bat. And Ozuna was the guy. He does make this team better, I think. And we'll see how the outfield shakes out, man. It might be ugly here and there, but at the end of the day, like Travis Sawchik wrote an article maybe a week ago about the Pirates basically just bailing on defense. And it has worked in the past. Like he brought up the Blue Jays last year. And obviously they were still really, really good defensively. But they basically cut their defensive value in half last year. And Santander was a big part of it, and he did nothing for them. But they were working to add more bats, and maybe we're pivoting more in Major League Baseball to let's acquire the bats and let's figure it out from there. Because we did have that shift where everybody wanted defenders, and the Pirates were one of them as well. They wanted every shortstop under the sun, and then we'll move them from there, and hopefully they'll be good. That didn't work. That was a complete failure.
But the problem was they didn't acquire anyone that was good. Like that, there's also a difference.
Well,
like,
true.
Had they have, I mean, like think about the Connor Griffins of the world. Like it's like, oh, okay, well, Connor, you're going to center field because we have all these shortstops. But
right.
Right.
At the same time, there was a lot of like from 22 to maybe 2020 to 2024. There was a lot of let's go after defensive value.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard Dyson should have never been a Pittsburgh Pirate. I know that was COVID year, but like
Also understand
there was a handful of dudes out there that like, my God, like what are you doing? This year, they kind of pivoted more to let's find some guys that can hit a baseball. I hope it works. At least it's more entertaining.
Yeah, and I still go back, and again, I think it's a difference. It's not where it's like, changing the world of baseball, but you are in a world where there are less balls in play, and you have a pitching staff. So this is the contrast between the 2013 to 15 Pirates and the 2026 version of the Pirates. Again, we say this is built off of pitching, but the pitching back then was a lot of like pitching to contact. And again, Ray Sears was there, right? 3 pitches or less, right? Like we're pitching the contact. Right. We had this shift. And this is also, and I say this because a lot of people want to bring up analytics, but the reason the Pirates were so good was heavily based on analytics as well. And one of them was that in itself, the shift. That's what they're doing. They were pitching the contact. They knew where the ball was going to go. They shifted that direction, and they made outs happen that way. This is a team right now that's going to strike guys out. Their pitching is so good because they have guys like Paul Skeens. They have guys like Bubba Chandler coming. Braxton Ashcraft, who has tremendous stuff. And Jared Jones is going to come back. Like, these are guys who are going to strike guys out. So you're in an era where there are less balls in play, and you have one of the better teams that can strike guys out, right, to prevent balls going into play. So with that, again, you're talking about roster construction. Maybe defense isn't as important to this team as it has been in years past, because Tyler, also that 2020 team wasn't striking guys out. They weren't. They needed defenders to make the outs.
Yeah.
This team, they can make outs from the rubber.
Yeah, hopefully I hope it all sorts itself out.
I do too.
I think I think they'll be okay. It's not to a point where it's bad enough that we're not tossing Spencer Horwitz in left field. Like, these guys have played here.
Yeah, close to that. It is right over. We're close to that.
He'll play right.
Ryan
Reynolds,
I
still think can play well enough. Like, I think they'll be okay enough. That's all you need. Just okay enough. Hit the baseball.
Yep. I agree. Like I said, I don't want to poo-poo so much like defense doesn't matter, but this is a team that needed offense, and I think the way this pitching is set up to be, you can live. Like you said, you got to be just okay. I think they can live with the construction of the outfield defense not being that great, because they might not be as heavily needed as they were back in 2022.
Yep. I'm with you.
All right. Well, we're already after over an hour on this.
Yeah, I got a pack.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Let's say, is there any other callers?
We do not have any more right now.
Then let's do it.
My flight's in 12 hours.
Well, then let's do this. Let's get out of here. Let's get ready. I got to do some packing too because I got to bring all this equipment down there for you guys. Do we know what the latest odds are for this team? Again, because we're talking about this baseball team right now, what they've done, what they could have done differently. And again, we do like this team as it is. Yes, you could go back, but like I said at the beginning of the show, every team would go back in hindsight and try to change things. I think what matters most is the team is in a situation where I think they can contend. They are in that discussion for sure. So I don't know. Do you know what FanDuel's telling us right now?
Yeah, we are at plus 650 to win the NL Central. The win total is now at, well, a little bit everywhere. 70 plus wins is minus 450. 80 plus wins is plus 112, which I think is a pretty good bet. 90 plus win is plus 520. 90 plus wins might be a little crazy, but I think there's some value there in the 80 plus wins.
I truly think, this is.
I said it before they acquired us enough.
But
I thought they were an 81 to 83 win team.
Same. I agree. This to me is at least a 500 baseball team. And I say that because, of course, things can change, right? Baseball is baseball. Games have to be played. Injuries can happen. But, this is at least to me a 500 baseball team, like without question.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, cool. All right. Well, Tyler, I'll see you
I'll see you in about 12 hours. Well, 15 hours.
I was going to say about 15 hours. I'll see you. We'll be drinking some beer.
You're darn right.
Can't wait. For everyone who joined the spaces, we appreciate you. For those who haven't yet, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Potentially Dougie Fresh and Tyler. Actually, you know what?
Yeah. It will be.
Maybe. Yeah, it will be. Okay. All right.
So at the very least, I will be here.
2 weeks, come back. We'll have another Sicko Soundoff. That'll be our last night in Bradenton for week 2 for those that are there. So, yeah, we'll probably have a lot to talk about then as well. So, baseball's happening officially tomorrow for the Pirates and then opening day, home opener at Lecom Park Sunday. And we'll be doing a show there, Tyler, live at Lecom.
We will very soon.
Can't wait. All right. Let's get out of here. We appreciate y'all. We love you all. Go ahead and like, subscribe if you haven't already. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.